Good morning. I hope you had a great night's sleep. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you are staying healthy and well, and I miss every one of my students and staff members, but I'm doing what I can to keep myself occupied during the school shutdown, and that includes reading. I love reading. There's so many different things to read, and I wanted to do a read aloud on one of my favorite childhood series called The Magic School Bus. And ironically, this is called The Giant Germ. So I'll be reading a chapter a day. Feel free to tune in to finish a whole chapter book on your quarantine and time off. So we'll start today with reading the introduction in chapter 1, The Giant Germ. Introduction. My name is Keisha. I am one of the kids in Mrs. Frizzle's class. Maybe you have heard of Mrs. Frizzle. Sometimes we just call her the Frizz. She's a terrific teacher, but a little strange. One of her favorite subjects is science, and she knows everything about it. She takes us on a lot of field trips in the Magic School Bus. Believe me, it's not called magic for nothing. We never know what's going to happen when we get on that bus. Mrs. Frizzle likes to surprise us, but we can usually tell what she is planning a special lesson. We just look at what she's wearing. Not long ago, Mrs. Frizzle showed up wearing this outfit. I didn't have a clue what kind of weird creatures were on her dress, but I had a funny feeling we were going to find out. Was I ever right? Let me tell you what happened. Chapter 1. All right, Ralphie waved his lunch bag and ran across the playground. This is great, said Wanda, a picnic. None of us had been expecting Mrs. Frizzle to take us outside for lunch. 1 minute, we were in our classroom ready to start our new science unit. The next, the Frizz was taking us out to the picnic yard. It just goes to show you, with Mrs. Frizzle around, you should always expect the unexpected. I wasn't going to complain. I love picnics. And the weather was perfect, warm and sunny with a clear blue sky. I feel lucky today, I said. The only kind of luck I ever have is bad luck, Arnold complained. Not always, insisted Dorothy Ann. We usually just call her D.A. She smiled into the sunshine as she sat down and began peeling her orange. You're in Mrs. Frizzle's class, aren't you? Arnold threw his hands up. I rest my case. I've got tuna fish. What about you, Keisha? Tim asked. I didn't even have to look in my lunch bag. I already knew exactly what was inside. Peanut butter and honey on my mom's homemade bread. My favorite, I said. My mouth started watering. But when I took the sandwich from its wrapper, I saw some fuzzy blue-green spots on the bread. Ew! What is that? I asked. Suddenly, I didn't feel so lucky anymore. Just looking at those spots made my stomach churn. But Mrs. Frizzle's face lit up like a Christmas tree. That, Keisha, is one of many miracles of microbes, she announced. Huh? That just looks like mold to me, said Carlos. There's more to mold than meets the eye, Carlos. Lots more. Mrs. Frizzle said. Each one of those spots of mold is actually made up of millions of tiny microbes. Microbes? What are they? Tim asked. D.A. flipped open her library book on microbes. She brought it outside with her to lunch. I think I can answer that. According to this, microbes are tiny, teeny living creatures. They're too small to be seen without a microscope. Millions of microbes have band together in order to be visible to the naked eye, she said. Quite right. That's the power in numbers, Dorothy Ann, said the Frizz, and microbes certainly have the numbers on their side. There are more microbes than any other living creature on Earth. and they are everywhere. At this very moment, microbes are floating in the air around us. Mrs. Frizz went on. They are on our skin and teeth, inside our bodies, in soil, in the food we eat, and everything we touch. Every time you put a foot on the ground, you're stepping on billions of microbes. Arnold looked around nervously. I am? I'm gonna be sick. Some microbes can make us sick, Mrs. Frizzle admitted, like viruses that cause chickenpox or bacteria that causes strep throat. Or when bacteria breaks through tooth enamel and causes tooth decay, D.A. added. Ralphie ran his tongue across his teeth. So that's how I got my cavity, he said. This was more than I wanted to know. I just wanted to eat my lunch, but it was moldy with microbes. What about my sandwich? I asked. All of a sudden, Mrs. Frizzle got a special twinkle in her eye, the same one we see when she's thinking of a far-out field trip. Excellent question, Keisha, she said. Class, it's time we get close and personal with microbes. To the bus. Mrs. Frizzle jumped to her feet and headed for the magic school bus. The next thing we knew, we were all inside the bus with her. I must have dropped my sandwich in the rush. When I looked out the window, I saw it lying on the ground next to the picnic table. Buckle up, everyone, said Mrs. Frizzle. She got behind the wheel and pushed some buttons on the dashboard. The bus got smaller and smaller. And so did we. Soon, we were no larger than a particle of dust. I guess you have to be microscopic if you want to mix with microbes, said Tim. You said it, said Mrs. Frizzle. Mrs. Frizzle hit the gas pedal and the bus shot up in the air. Next stop, Keisha's sandwich. Stay tuned for Chapter 2 of The Giant Germ. Have a good day.